Good day everyone, I am Ria May Valencia and as you can see on the screen, our topic today is inflation. Inflation is the rate at which prices for a basket increases over a period of time, leading to a decrease in the purchasing of money. So, sa madaling sabi, ang ibig sabihin ng inflation ay kapag tumaas ang presyo ng bilihin, ibig sabihin kakaunti na lang ang mabibili ng pera. Inflation is measured using Consumer Price Index, which shows the average price for goods and services people buy. Ang Consumer Price Index, ito yung nagpapakita ng pagbabago ng presyo. Halimbawa, noong 2020, ang kilo ng bigas ay 40 pesos. Pero ngayon, 2025, ang presyo na ng bigas ay 60 pesos. So, ibig sabihin, sa mga nakalipas na taon, nagtaas ang presyo ng bigas from 40 to 60 pesos. Causes of inflation include demand pull, cost push, and expansionary monetary policy. So, pag sinabi nating demand pull, ito yung pagtaas ng pangangailangan, pagtaas din ng presyo. Halimbawa, ngayong Christmas season, maraming tao ang bumibili ng prutas. At dahil sa dami ng bumibili, mas tumataas ang presyo ng prutas. Dito naman sa cost push, halimbawa ay nagmahal ang gasolina. Pag nagmahal ang gasolina, magmamahal din ang pamasahe. So, ganun sa cost push. So, last is expansionary monetary policy. So, eto naman yung kapag nag-release ang gobyerno ng bagong pera, madaming tao din ang mayroong pera na pwedeng igastos. So, dahil doon, nagtataas ang mga bilihin. Inflation gainers and losers. Inflation losers, savers, retirees living on fixed incomes, workers on fixed incomes, borrowers on variable rates, whole economy from general economic uncertainty, and exporters less competitive. Inflation gainers, debtors on fixed repayments plans, governments with high public sector debt, owner of land and physical assets, and PMs who can cut real wages. So, bakit nga ba naging losers ang savers sa inflation? So, halimbawa ako, nag-ipon ako ng 10,000 pesos sa bangko. Pero after a year, nagtaas sa mga bilihin. So, yung 10,000 pesos ko, kokonti lang din yung mabibili. Retires with fixed income. Halimbawa, senior citizen na nagpe-pension buwan-buwan ng 5,000. Kung dati sumasapat yon pambili ng pagkain at gamot, pero dahil sa inflation, dahil tumaas na ang mga bilihin, hindi na sumasapat yung 5,000 niya sa pambili ng mga pangangailangan niya. Workers on fixed salary. Halimbawa ako, nagtatrabaho ako at sumasahod ako 12K monthly at hindi nagtataas yung sahod ko. Pero ang mga bilihin, pagkain, pamasahe ay nagtataas. At dahil doon, nahihirapan na akong pagkasyahin yung pera ko. Borrowers on variable rates. Halimbawa, si Joy, kumuha siya ng cellphone na hulugan. Dahil variable ang interest, nung tumaas ang inflation, tumaas na din ang monthly payment niya. So, dito naman sa whole economy, ito naman yung mga walang kasiguraduhan. Ito yung mga hindi natin alam kung mangyayari. Halimbawa, sa isang negosyo or ang isang company, pinipigilan nila na mag-hire ng bagong workers dahil hindi nila alam kung tataas ba ang presyo ng mga supply nila. At dahil doon, nagpumabagal ang takbo ng negosyo. Exporters less competitive. Halimbawa, si Altea ay gumagawa ng kangkong chips pang-export. At dahil sa inflation, dahil tumaas ang inflation, nagmahal ang produkto niya. Kaya, mas pinili na lang na ibang bansa na humanap ng mas murang kangkong chips sa ibang lugar or sa ibang bansa. Gainers during inflation. First is debtors on fixed payments. Halimbawa, si Ate Kian, meron siyang trabaho at kumuha siya ng hulugan na washing machine na nagkakahalaga ng 7,000 pesos at huhulugan niya ito sa loob ng 1 taon. So, kahit magtaas ang inflation, 7,000 pa rin yung huhulugan niya. At paglipas ng panahon, tataas ang sahod niya. So, mas magaan lang ang hulugan niya. Government with high debt. Halimbawa, ang gobyerno nangutang ng nagkakahalaga ng 1 bilyong piso. So, habang tumataas ang inflation, bumababa yung tunay na halaga ng 1 bilyon. So, ibig sabihin, mas madali na itong bayaran sa future. Owners of land and physical assets. Halimbawa, si Cedric, meron siyang lupa na nabili niya sa halagang 200,000 pesos at binenta niya ito. Dahil tumaas ang inflation, nabenta niya ito ng 350,000 pesos. So, ibig sabihin, kumita siya kahit wala siyang ginagawa. So, last is firms who can cut real wages. Halimbawa, isang kumpanya na hindi nagtataas ng sahod sa mga empleyado kahit na tumataas ang inflation dahil mababa ang kanilang mga pasahod, mas lalong lumalaki ang kita ng kumpanya. That's all. Thank you!
So, dadako naman po tayo sa susunod na topic, ang demand-pull inflation and cost-push inflation. So, tatalakayin po natin dito yung epekto ng demand-pull and cost-push inflation sa mga consumer. At iisa-isahin din natin kung ano ang demand-pull inflation and cost-push inflation. Pull inflation. What is demand-pull inflation? Demand-pull inflation is a type of inflation that happens when overall demand for goods or and services an economy increases faster than the economy's ability to produce them. So, nangyayari daw po ang demand-pull inflation kapag mas mabilis na tumaas ang demand sa economy kaysa sa pag-produce ng product. So, doon pumapasok ang demand-pull inflation. So, dadako po tayo sa next slide, which is the example of demand-pull inflation. So, a new smartphone model becomes extremely popular. Million wants to buy it, but the company can produce only a limited number at first. Retailer increase the price because demand is greater than supply. So, ang example nga po dito ay yung mga bagong smartphone na ilalabas ng isang company. So, maraming consumer ang nag-aabang ng bagong smartphone dahil siguro quality, magandang camera, maganda gamitin. So, kaya inaabangan ng mga consumer. So, pero limited lang yung ilalabas ng limited lang ilalabas ng company. So, ang mga retailers ay mas mataas ang kanilang benta sa smartphone dahil limited nga lang ang limited lang na ang na-produce ng company. So, papasok ang demand-pull inflation dito dahil limited lang yung nagawang product ng isang company, which is yung smartphone. So, yung gagawin naman ng mga retailer is mataas yung kanilang price sa smartphone dahil hindi nga marami ang stock ng smartphone, limited lang. So, doon pumapasok ang demand-pull inflation. So, next slide po ay cost-push inflation. What is cost-push inflation? Cost-push inflation is a type of inflation that occurs when the cost of producing goods and service increases, causing producers to raise prices to maintain their profits. So, ang cost-push inflation po ay isang uri ng inflation na kung saan ang pag-produce ng isang goods or service is mataas ang ginamit na materials sa paggawa ng isang product. So, kaya ang nag-produce nito, mas mahal din ang benta niya sa kanyang na-produce na product dahil nga mas mahal din ang ginamit na materials sa product na ito, kaya mas mahal din ang kanyang benta sa kanyang nagawang product. So, doon pumapasok ang cost push inflation para ma-maintain ng producer yung kanyang profit. So, naman tayo ay sa cost push inflation example. If the price of chicken feed and fuel increases, poultry farmers must spend more to raise chicken. So, example dito is the price of chicken feed. So, kapag daw po tumaas ang presyo ng pagkain ng manok at ang gasolina, so mas kailangan pa ng farmer na mag-spend ng more budget para mabuhay yung kanyang mga alagang manok, or kailangan niya pa mag-spend ng more money para maging maayos ang pag-aalaga niya ng manok. So, doon nangyari yung inflation sa kailangan ng isang farmer na mas malaki pa yung kanyang profit para sa pag-aalaga ng manok. So, dadako naman po tayo sa next slide, which is the effects of demandful inflation to the consumer. First is the high price. So, mas tumaas ang mga gastusin ng mga consumer dahil sa pagtaas nga ng mga goods. So, ito ang pinakaunang epekto sa kanila is mas malaki ang magiging gastos nila sa kanilang pang-araw-araw. So, next is the reduced purchasing power. So, mas umunti na lang ang bibilhin ng mga consumer dahil hindi na nga sapat sa kanilang budget yung mga bilihin dahil tumaas na nga ito. So, mas nakaka-apekto sa kanila ito dahil kung dati man ay yung pera nila na pagkakasya nila sa isang linggo, sabihin na natin example is 5,000. So, kung tumaas na yung pumasok yung demandful inflation, naging 10,000 na lang yung kanilang, naging 10,000 dapat ang kanilang dapat na pera para mabili nila yung dati nilang mga binibili. So, yun po ang decreased value of saving, reducing purchasing power. So, next naman po ay decreased value of savings. So, hindi napapanatili ng mga consumer ang kanilang savings or mga ipon dahil yun nga, mas mataas na din ng pumasok ngayong demandful inflation. So, nahihirapan din sila mag-balance ng kanilang pera dahil mas tumaas nga at pumasok yung demandful inflation. So, yun ang epekto ng demandful inflation sa mga consumer. So, dadako na po tayo sa last slide, which is the effect of the cost push inflation to the consumer. First effect is the higher price of goods and service. So, mas mataas at marami ang nagagastos ng mga consumer sa kanilang produktong binibili sa pang-araw-araw dahil dahil mataas nga ang price ng mga goods. So, dahil doon nababawasan pa yung kanilang income. Yun ang pangunahing epekto ng cost push inflation sa mga consumers. Number 2 is financial strain or fixed income household. So, pangalawang epekto ng cost push inflation sa mga consumer is mahirap matugunan ng mga consumer ang kanilang pang-araw-araw na kailangan ng mga consumer. At dahil sa economic vulnerability, dahil sa pagtaas ng economic vulnerability is yun nga, nagiging epekto nung pagtaas ng mga bilihin ay nahihirapan ng mga consumer sa pang-araw-araw nilang pangangailangan. So, third is the Reduce purchasing power, standard of living decrease. So, standard of living decrease. So, bumababa ang standard living dahil nga palagi na lang natin sinasabi na mataas yung presyo ng mga produkto. So, yun ang pinaka point na nagiging dahilan ng mga consumer kung bakit bababa ang standard living dahil nga sa pagtaas ng goods na kanilang pangailangan. So, kaya bumababa ang standard of living. So, yun lamang po ang epekto ng cost push inflation sa mga consumers. Hindi lang po pala yan ang epekto ng cost push inflation at demand pull inflation sa mga consumers. So, maraming po pero kumuha lang po ako ng konti para may pakita. So, yun lamang po.
So good day everyone, I am Leanne Rumuta and let's tackle about the quantity theory of money. So first, what is the quantity theory of money? So the quantity theory of money or the QTM is an economic theory that explains the relationship between the money supply and price level in an economy. So what is the relationship of the quantity theory of money and the inflation? So first, when the money supply increases faster than output or the prices increases. So, if the government or central bank prints more money or increases money supply too quickly, but the production of goods or the Q does not increase at the same rate, then the people have more money but same amount of goods. This causes competition for goods, leading business to raise prices, resulting in inflation. Second is when the velocity can increase inflation too. So if people start spending money faster or the higher velocity, it has the same effect increasing money supply. So more transactions push prices up, contributing to inflation. So the third one is the stable money growth helps control inflation. So if the quantity theory suggests that stable, controlled money supply growth helps keep inflation low and predictable. So here's the simple example. So imagine that the economy has 100 goods or the 1,000 pesos total money supply. So if the money supply suddenly becomes 2,000 pesos but goods remain 100, then people have twice the money but goods didn't increase. So sellers will increase prices because the demand rises. So this results in inflation. So in short, the quantity theory money explains that too much money chasing too few goods leads to inflation. So this is why central banks carefully manage money supply to maintain a stable economy. So good day everyone, my name is Leanne Rumuta and let's tackle about the measurement of price increases. So there are at least 4 commonly used measures of price increases. So these are the Consumer Price Index or the CPI, the Retail Price Index or the RPI, and the Wholesale Price Index or WPI, and the Stock Price Index or SPI. So first, let's talk about the Consumer Price Index or the CPI. So the Consumer Price Index or the CPI is a measure that shows how the average prices of goods and services that consumers commonly buy change over time. So it is one of the most important tools used to measure the inflation. So what the CPI measures? Those CPI tracks the prices of items in a typical household or the basket of goods such as the food and beverages, the housing or the rent or utilities, the transportation or the gasoline and fares, the clothing, the healthcare, the education, and many more. So, what CPI measures? So, CPI tracks the prices of items in a typical household or the basket of goods such as the food and beverages, housing, the rent, and utilities. So, the transportation, the gasoline and fares, the clothing, the healthcare, education, and recreation. So, these items represent what an average family usually spends money on. So, how the CPI works? So, the government chooses a basket of goods that represents common spending. So, they record the current prices of all items in the basket. They compare the prices to the prices in the base year. So, the percentage increases or decreases increases becomes the CPI value. So why is CPI is important? So the CPI is important because it measures the inflation. So when CPI goes up, it means the general price level is increasing. So this is the inflation. Also it shows cost of living changes. So the higher CPI means consumer needs more money to buy the same goods. Next is the use for policy decisions. So government and business use CPI to adjust wages, pensions, and economic plans. Here's the example of the CPI. So if the basket cost 1,000 last year and 1,050 this year, so the CPI increase. So the 50 divide 1,000 times 100 is equals to 5%. So this means prices increased by 5%, so inflation is 5%. So now let's talk about the retail price index or the RPI. So what is RPI? RPI is a measure that tracks the changes in the prices of goods sold in the retail stores. So it shows how much the cost of common consumers items increases or decreases over time. So RPI is similar to CPI, but it usually focuses more on retail goods rather than a full basket of household expenses. So what RPI means? RPI includes the prices of goods commonly bought in the stores such as the food items, the clothing, the household of goods, the fuel and energy, the transportation and fares, and the other retail products. So it reflects how much consumers actually pay for goods at retail prices. So why RPI is important? RPI is important because it measures inflation based on retail goods. So it helps the track changes in purchasing power used by business and government to adjust wages, benefits, and contracts. Shows how rising retail prices affect the cost of living. So here's the example. So if the basket of retail items cost 2,000 pesos last year and 2,100 this year, so the RPI or the retail price index increase. So 100 divided by 2,000 times 100 is equals to 5%. This means the retail price increased by 5%. Let's talk about the wholesale price index or the WPI. So what is the WPI? So WPI measures the average change in prices of goods at the wholesale level, meaning before the products reach retail stores and consumers. These are the prices that wholesalers or producers charge to retailers, not the final prices consumers pay. So, what WPI measures? So, WPI includes the prices of goods sold in bulk such as the agricultural products. Example of the agricultural products are the rice, corn, vegetable, etc. Next is the industrial goods such as the cement, the steel, and the chemicals, and etc. Next is the manufactured items such as textiles and the machinery. And lastly, it focuses mainly on goods and not the services. So why the WPI important? So WPI is important because early indicator of inflation. Because it measures price changes earlier in the supply chain. It can predict future consumer prices. It helps the government and businesses track production cost changes and used to understand price trends in agriculture and industry. Lastly, influences policy decisions on supply, production, and trade. So here's this example of the WPI. So if the wholesale price of basket of goods was 10,000 pesos last year and 10,500 this year, so the WPI increased. So 500 divided by the 10,000 times the 100, it is equals to 5%. This means the wholesale prices increased by 5%.
The meaning of the index An index is a numerical measure used to show how prices change over time compared to a base year. Ang index ay isang numerical na sukatan na ginagamit upang ipakita kung paano nagbabago ang presyo ng mga bilihin sa paglipas ng panahon kumpara sa isang base year. The base year is given a value of 100. If the index is above 100, prices have increased. If the index is below 100, prices have decreased. Example, if the consumer price index is 120, it means prices are 20% higher than in the base year. An index is used to measure inflation, track changes in the cost of living, adjust wages, pensions, and benefits. Here's a clear example of how to compute a simple price index using a small basket of goods. Step 1. Define the base year and basket of goods. Let's use 2020 as the base year with a basket containing 2 loaves of bread, 3 liters of milk, 1 dozen eggs. Step 2. Calculate the total cost of the basket in the base year. Suppose 2020 base year prices are bread 40 pesos per loaf, 2 loaves equals 80 pesos, milk 50 pesos per liter, 3 liters equals 150 pesos, eggs 120 pesos per dozen, 1 dozen equals 120. Total base year cost 2020 equals 80 pesos plus 150 pesos plus 120 pesos equals 350 pesos. Base year index is always 100, so this cost corresponds to 100. Step 3. Calculate the total cost of the same basket in the current year. Let's use 2024 as the current year with these prices. Bread, 48 pesos per loaf, 2 loaves equals 96 pesos. Milk, 55 pesos per liter, 3 liters equals 165 pesos. Eggs, 138 pesos per dozen, 1 dozen equals 138 pesos. Total current year cost 2024, 96 pesos plus 165 pesos plus 138 pesos equals 399 pesos. Step 4. Compute the index. The formula for a price index is index equals total current year cost divided by total base year cost times 100. Lagging in the numbers, index 2024 equals the total current year cost 399 divided by total base year cost 350 times 100. 399 divided by 350 equals 1.14. 1.14 times 100 equals 114. Interpretation: the 2024 index is 114, meaning prices of the basket are 14% higher than in the 2020 base year. The measure of curb inflation refers to specific actions taken by central banks, governments, and other authorities to reduce or control the rate of inflation. Sustained increase in the general price level of goods and services in an economy over time. So, ibig sabihin, ang tiyak na hakbang na ginagawa ng Bangko Sentral at pamahalaan upang makontrol ang inflation ay makikita kapag itinaas ng Bangko Sentral ang interest rate upang mabawasan ang pag-utang at paggastos ng mga tao. Kaya bumabagal ang patuloy na pagtaas ng presyo ng mga bilihin at serbisyo sa ekonomiya. Control of inflation. First, monetary policy is the province of the Bangko Sentral or the monetary authority. By means of this, the Bangko Sentral is able to make the supply of money scarce or plentiful as the overall national objectives would require. Ito ay tungkulin ng Bangko Sentral o ng Monetary Authority. Sa pamamagitan nito, kayang kontrolin ng Bangko Sentral ang dami ng pera sa ekonomiya. Maaaring gawing kakaunti o masagana ayon sa layunin ng bansa sa ekonomiya. Second, fiscal policy is with the utilization of public expenditure, taxation, and public debt so as to achieve desired economic objectives. Is supposed to assist in the reduction of wild swing in the economic activity and in the promotion of a stable growth of income over time, greater employment, and a more equitable distribution of income and wealth. Ito naman ay tumutukoy sa paggamit ng paggasta ng gobyerno, buwis at utang pampubliko upang makamit ang mga layunin sa ekonomiya. Layunin nitong bawasan ang malalaking pagbabago sa ekonomiya at isulong ang matatag na paglago ng kita, mas maraming trabaho at patas na pamamahagi ng kita at yaman. Third, other measures. Support local farmers and small businesses in Quezon Province to increase food and commodity production. Implement a rational wage policy that ties pay hike to productivity, not just inflation, and set price ceilings on essential items like rice and fuel temporarily. Suportahan ang mga lokal na magsasaka at maliliit na negosyo sa lalawigan ng Quezon upang mapataas ang produksyon ng pagkain at mga kalakal. Ipatupad ang makatwirang patakaran sa sahod na nakaayon sa produktibidad, hindi lamang sa inflation. At pansamantala magtakda ng presyo ng mga pangunahing bilihin tulad ng bigas at gasolina.